Aaron, we end our coverage from Galveston tonight on the seawall built after the 1900 hurricane hit. Let's hope this old wall, 105 years old, helps the people tomorrow when this storm hits.
Well, here's the plan. You and I will start at 10 and we'll just kind of keep going for as long as we can keep going tomorrow. The storm expected to come ashore in the early morning hours, early Saturday morning, Friday night, and you will find a spot, we hope, where you can safely talk about it.
Let's hope.
Sounds good to me. Our coverage continues with Catherine Calloway in Atlanta tonight.
CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Calloway. We are in B Control here at the CNN Center in Atlanta, and we want to show you an amazing picture coming out of Houston. This live shot of Interstate 45 gridlock in Houston as thousands try, and we repeat, try to flee their homes. All lanes heading north on this interstate, but frustration abounds inside these cars. We have reports of people traveling just 45 miles in 12 hours. They are moving at a snail's pace. Some 2 million people expected to leave parts of Texas and Louisiana trying to get out ahead of Hurricane Rita. Let's go right to Bonnie Schneider. She's in the Weather Center. Bonnie, a lot of concern about how fast this storm's going to move in, when we're going to start seeing effects, the rain, the high wind. We know the airports in Houston are closing at noon tomorrow.
Well, it looks like Houston's okay for tonight because the storm is still a couple hundred miles away from landfall. But you can see we're getting those rain bands right now through the central Gulf. We've even had some spotty showers reported in New Orleans. I think the weather for Texas will start to deteriorate as early as tomorrow. Remember, this is a very large storm. A Category 4, and as the storm advances to the west-northwest, we are expecting a turn to the northwest, and that should occur as early as tomorrow. That does change the track a little bit from where we were just a couple days ago. We were originally talking about south of Galveston. No longer. It looks like landfall will be early Saturday morning, possibly late Friday night, but most likely early Saturday, somewhere in the vicinity between Galveston and Port Arthur, Texas, or the Texas-Louisiana border. Remember, we still have hurricane warnings posted for much of the Texas coast, extending all the way to intracoastal city, Louisiana. Catherine?
All right, we will continue to follow the drama that is spinning in the Gulf and developing on the interstates going out of Houston. We'll be back in 30 minutes.
Keep watching CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Tonight, with a monster Hurricane Rita roaring towards a Saturday morning collision with Texas, hundreds of thousands are crawling away in bumper-to-bumper evacuations that stretch for miles. They're going to get out in time. We'll get the latest from the mayors and reporters across Rita's targets and areas next on Larry King Live. Welcome to another edition of Larry King Live. We're in Washington tonight, and our panelists include in New York, Sam Champion of WABC TV. Here in Washington is Bill Nye, the science guy, the scientist, engineer, best-selling author, and Emmy-winning television personality. He's host of The Eyes of Nye on PBS, member of the National Advisory Board of the Union of Concerned Scientists. At State College, Pennsylvania, is Ken Reeves. Ken is senior meteorologist and director of forecasting operations for AccuWeather. We'll be checking in with Anderson Cooper in Galveston, Texas. And with us as well for most of the hour will be Mayor Lyda Ann Thomas, the mayor of much beleaguered Galveston, Texas. Let's start with Bill Nye. How bad is this?
I think it's real bad. And my concern is it's only September. You know, by the time it gets to be Thanksgiving or so, we could have 2 or 3 more of these, 4 or more of these. And then in the long term, the atmosphere is getting warmer. So when you have warmer water in the mid-Atlantic, you're going to have more hurricanes, and they're going to be stronger. So this gets into this business of global climate change. Now, we got immediate problems and immediate misery, but I think it's not inappropriate to think about the long term.
We'll get back to a lot of that. Sam Champion, this is now a Category 4. Will it go back to a 5, or don't we know?
Larry, that's a really good question. The next couple of hours, we'll watch it. It's moving into a warmer pool of water. It spent some time today in what they call a cooler eddy of water, and it had some eyefall reformation, which allowed it to kind of weaken a little bit. So it dropped from that 5 to a 4. It now looks like it'll stay a 4 and maybe even wobble back a little bit to a 5. It'll be interesting to see if it does once it gets into that warmer water.
What's the situation, Ken Reeves, from your standpoint, senior meteorologist, director of forecasting for AccuWeather? How bad is this going to be?
Well, Larry, it's going to be a rather bad storm, and I know there'll be stories about it weakening and getting stronger and weakening and getting stronger. It's going to be a strong, probably Category 4 when it's making landfall somewhere between Galveston and Port Arthur, Texas, during the early morning hours on Saturday, and that's going to create quite a storm surge, maybe 20 to 25 feet. And because it's jogged a little farther north during the course of the day today, we're going to have to keep an eye and see whether it maybe turns a little more to the west. But nonetheless, it does raise a little bit more concern for the New Orleans area as well.
All right, what's the situation, Mayor Thomas, of Galveston in your city? How many are gone?
I think about 90% of our population has now evacuated the island.
And how long do you stay?
I will be here throughout the storm. I haven't left before, and I'm not going to leave now.
Well, if they're evacuating, where do you have safe haven?
We're moving the government offices to the San Luis Hotel, which is built on top of 2 World War II bunkers. So we're about 39 feet above the sea level here. So we think we're going to be high and dry.
Anderson Cooper, you're with the mayor. Where do you stay?
I'm going to try to stay as close to the mayor as possible. The San Luis Hotel is being nice. They're letting us rent out a conference room. We hope to stay there. And, it seems to be the most solid building. It's weathered a lot of storms here. It's a beautifully run hotel. So we're hoping to kind of just hunker down there as much as we can and fall back to there if we need to. We'll try to show our audience as much of the storm as possible and then use that as a fallback location.
Let's check in with Rob Marciano in Baytown, Texas, our CNN weatherman and news anchor as well. Now, Rob, where is Baytown in relation to Galveston?
Well, basically, Baytown is right between Galveston and Houston. It's on the northern tip of Galveston Bay. So it's an area of concern if this storm were to come either right up Galveston or just to the south of Galveston, putting it in the right front quadrant, giving it that all too familiar storm surge that was felt in southwestern Mississippi. Also, what you see behind me is one of the, if not the largest oil refinery in America. And the western bank of Galveston Bay is lined with oil refineries and petrochemical plants. So there's a huge issue with that. Even if this storm goes east of Galveston Bay, and at this point the present track looks like it wants to do that, the east and northeast winds will have a similar effect to what we saw just last week in North Carolina, and will pile a lot of that water. There'll be a significant storm surge on the western end of Galveston Bay, and that's where a lot of the oil refineries are, over by Texas City. So there's going to be a big issue there. And then closer to the border, over by Sabine Lake and Sabine Pass in southwestern Louisiana, Cameron Parishes, that's all flat land, and they're going to see a storm surge that will go well inland. We're going to stay very close to I-10 and not venture too far south, at least during the storm, Larry.
Bill Nye, I hope this isn't stupid. There's no way of changing this, right?
Stopping a hurricane?
This is going to hit. There's no way it's going to turn and go out to the left or go...
Well, probably not. You see, nowadays, the mathematical models used to generate these storm tracks, and the term everybody likes is the strike zone and the cone of impact, they're very accurate. I mean, if you're off... I remember as a kid, they'd be off 100 nautical miles,
yeah,
no trouble, 150 nautical miles. So now they're off 20 or 50 nautical miles. The thing is enormous. It's 100 nautical miles across. I mean, even if it misses, it hits you, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Jeff Koinange, our CNN correspondent, normally in Africa, has been for a long time in New Orleans. What are they saying there, Jeff?
I tell you, Larry, there's a lot of angry and very depressed people here in New Orleans. National Hurricane Center declared a tropical storm warning here in the state of Louisiana and also New Orleans. There was light rain all afternoon. People are so unhappy, especially in Jefferson Parish. Remember the place where they had just welcomed back over 200,000 people, and now they are having to leave? We interviewed quite a few of them today, Larry. They were telling us what's going on. Why are we being hit with this double whammy? A lot of people having no choice, Larry, but to turn around and head back where they were.
Sam, what's the best guesstimate of what New Orleans is going to get Saturday?
Well, actually, Friday is probably a troubling day for them as well, as they'll get into some tropical storm force winds. It does look like they could easily get into the 30, 50 mile per hour wind zone, and maybe even a little bit higher than that. There have been 15, 20-foot waves off the coast of Louisiana tonight. There will be again tomorrow. The waves are running well ahead of the center, the pounding center of this storm in the ocean. So they'll have those waves tonight through the day tomorrow, then the gusty winds tomorrow. There's been some scattered rain through there today. We feel like they could get, 6 inches of rain in some portions of that Louisiana area. The general range for them has been about 2 to 4 expecting, but in some of these thunderstorms since they started today, I think they could come out with a 6-inch total easy in some of those areas.
Ken Reeves, could this be worse than Katrina?
Well, it's probably not going to be worse from the standpoint of New Orleans because they've had so much damage already. But there obviously is some concern because we aren't really sure. We know there could be anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain perhaps in New Orleans, at least in parts of the area. There's going to be a storm surge of a couple of feet that may find its way into Lake Pontchartrain at some point. The real question, though, Larry, is whether or not all the repairs and any hidden damage on the levee system may be compromised by that slight increase and the rain as well. As for the Texas coast, as I was saying yesterday, I think where it makes landfall, we are going to see the same kind of damage relative to what they received in southern Mississippi and southern Alabama from Katrina. So that storm surge coming in as well as the winds are going to cause quite a havoc on the Texas coast. Whether or not they cause the same amount of total damage or not really is dependent on whether Galveston County gets hit or not.
We'll take a break, and as we go to break, we'll show you a live scene of traffic in the city of Houston, Texas. Houston pretty usually has traffic problems. Boy, they got it tonight. You're watching Larry King Live. Look at that. And when we come back, more with our mayor of Galveston, more with our panel. We'll be joined soon by Max Mayfield, the director of the National Hurricane Center. Don't go away.
TV really sucks. But you don't have to put up with TV that sucks any longer because there's better TV for all of us. And it's called Dish Network.
Call today for our best offer. 25 premium movie channels for 3 months free.
Every month, my bill totally sucks. So I switched to Dish Network, and now my bills don't suck at all.
Call right now and get over 200 channels, including CNN, Discovery, ESPN, Disney, plus many more, including local channels for the first month free. And if you call right now, you'll receive a DVR equipment upgrade free.
With the Dish DVR, you can pause and then replay live TV.
Call now and get 25 premium movie channels for 3 months free. First month's qualifying programming free. Dish DVR equipment upgrade free. And standard professional installation free. Don't wait. Call now.
Dish Network. Better TV for...
I knew I had skin cancer, but I didn't realize that I had malignant melanoma, the most deadly kind.
They found a growth on my left vocal cord, which came back malignant.
I could go ahead and have the surgery, or I'd get a second opinion. I wanted a second opinion.
My wife gave me this 800 number and said that I needed to call and talk with Harry at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
There are options, there is hope, and that's what I'm here for, is to kind of help them through this decision-making process.
We provide the patient with treatment options that most places don't have.
How much hope does that put in a person that's just been diagnosed? To be talking with someone now that says they've survived 5 years.
Our cancer information specialists are available 24 hours a day. Call now and they'll send you this free DVD and information showing you how hospitals dedicated solely to treating cancer can offer you treatment options you may not even know exist.
There's always hope when you came to the right place. This is how it's going to be in heaven. That's what I tell my husband.
Rob Marciano in Baytown, Texas. Houston is a pretty big, rather safe city. Why are people leaving Houston?
Well, the winds, for one thing. I mean, when this thing grew to 175-mile-an-hour winds, and with the wind field being 80 miles wide, you're talking about a moderate-sized tornado, basically, about 200 miles wide. So that's enough to do some serious damage to Houston. I'll admit I'm not quite as familiar with the slosh models or the computer models that project how much water will actually come inland during a storm surge. But the bay behind me, the northern tip of Galveston Bay, is pretty close to the city of Houston itself. And with rivers flowing through Houston as well, there's likely to be some sort of storm surge flooding if it were to take a track right up Galveston Bay. At this point, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. But wind damage is going to be a serious issue, Larry, and that's one of the reasons that folks evacuated. The other reason I mean, plain and simple, Katrina, people are spooked. People are scared. People are running for the hills. And I'll tell you, there is a dire situation happening tonight along I-45 between Houston and Dallas. People stuck in their cars, running out of gas, trying to get to higher ground away from this storm. And some people were describing it with record 99, 100-degree heat today as equivalent to what happened in the Superdome, except spread out across North Houston in some of the cars. So hopefully that situation will work itself out before the storm hits, because you don't want those people stuck on the interstate as a storm hits. It's certainly, people are spooked, and they got out, and evacuation orders were issued, and they're going.
Joining us on the phone is Mayor Jim Phillips. He's mayor of Freeport, Texas, which we understand is south of Galveston. Will you get it before Galveston gets its mayor?
Yeah, we're south of the Galveston Island, and as we look at it now, the storm is projected to go into our north. We will catch hurricane-force winds, but we're some 40 miles to the south of Galveston along the Texas coast.
So what's your worst-case scenario?
Our worst-case scenario is that we'll get some high tide. We'll get hurricane-force winds, but that's primarily it. A little bit of minor flooding, but certainly we're on the dry side of the storm as it's now projected.
Thank you, Mayor Phillips, and good luck to you. Mayor Thomas, the mayor of Galveston, what is your worst fear?
Just made a lot of
How old
sense.
were your kids when you moved back?
Mayor Thomas, do you hear me? Okay, we lost Mayor Thomas. What should be, Bill Nye, the worst fear in Galveston if it gets hit head-on?
Well, people losing their land and a way to get out, where people can't get out.
Flooding.
Yeah, flooding ruins stuff. Ruins are human materials. And when you can't get out, that's when it's really bad. You get stuck. And people think they're going to ride it out, and then they can't. And then we all got to help them. You know, that costs a lot of resources, costs a lot of tax dollars. We have to deploy a lot of assets, as we say nowadays. And we're not always successful.
Do we have Max Mayfield yet? Okay, we're waiting for Max Mayfield. Sam Champion, do you get any kind of reading? I was with Senator John Breaux tonight of Louisiana, and he expects it to be very bad in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is his home base. Is it going to be bad?
Yeah, I think so, Larry, because remember, when we look at a hurricane, we draw a circle around it just like it was a clock and then split it in quarters, read it from a 12 to 3 like a clock, and that's the worst part of the hurricane. So if you put the center of this storm and you kind of run it in northeast of Galveston, and then you look how it affects the coastline, that runs all the way up to Lake Charles as being some of the worst effects of the storm. So you're sweeping the water in that direction, and it could be a 15-foot high storm surge, even as far away as that. It could be about 100 miles from the center of this storm that we see about a 15-foot high wall of water sweeping the coastline. So it is going to be a little tough for Lake Charles. The only thing that would make it better is if this storm picked a spot a little further south on the coastline. But from where we think it'll go and where it's likely to trend over the next 24 hours, it's that North Texas into that western part of Louisiana that gets walloped with this. Just like when you look at Katrina, it was east of New Orleans. You look at that Mississippi-Alabama coastline where the disaster, where the damage was just so bad.
Max Mayfield, who's director of the National Hurricane Center and based in Miami. Go back a long way. Max, have you ever seen one like this?
We certainly did about 3 weeks ago, Larry. This is actually about the same intensity as Katrina near the time of landfall, and this is also becoming a very large hurricane like Katrina.
So there's a lot of similarities.
That's right, and just like in Katrina, the greatest potential for the large loss of life is from that storm surge flooding on the immediate coastline. And I know you're just talking about the Cameron, Lake Charles area. That's a very good point. Also, depending on the landfall of the Port Arthur, Beaumont area, you know, that the highest storm surge will be near and just to the east of where the center crosses the coast, and it's really not a wall of water. It's more like a dome of water that, you know, the tides are already above normal now, and they will continue to increase and then increase quite rapidly near the time of landfall.
Is there anything, Max, worse about it from your standpoint?
Well, I don't know how it could be much worse, Larry, here. I think if there's anything good to be learned, you know, from Katrina, it's the fact that, you know, people have been reminded what a very powerful hurricane can do, and certainly it appears that people are listening to the advice of those local officials, and, you know, there are massive evacuations underway, and that's a good thing. We have to be mindful that after Rita makes landfall, we expect the forward motion to really slow down, and this could even stall by the end of the weekend here. And if that happens, then we're also talking about some really heavy rainfall amounts, well inland, and that's going to have a bearing on all the folks that have evacuated from the coastal areas. They're going to have to be very, very careful from that inland freshwater flooding.
I thought mountains stop a hurricane, and there's no mountains there.
No, it's not. You don't have to have mountains. It's that a hurricane's a heat engine gets its source of energy from the more motion, and if you move that source of energy, if you move a hurricane from water over land, it loses that source of energy. It's kind of like boiling water in a stove. If you turn off the heat, the water stops boiling.
Thanks, Max. We'll be checking back with you and back with all of our guests right after this.
How many days is 3 weeks?
21.
Won't we miss your room?
A little bit.
Won't we miss Rocky?
You know what I'm gonna miss the most?
What?
This face.
Mr. Bucket, welcome to Residence Inn.
Residence Inn. All suites with all the comforts.
Find out what it feels like when the job you're looking for finds you. Employers search Monster every day looking for the right candidates. But you can't be found unless you post your resume. So post your resume today in just a few clicks and let employers find you.
Save up to 80% by buying Factory Direct. 1 carat solitaires $5.99, marquee solitaires $3.99. Buy Factory Direct and save the Jewelry Exchange with superstores in most major cities, or go online at jewelryexchange.com.
There's nothing a chef likes better than serving up something special.
From Friday night's lemon dill salmon to Wednesdays and Saturdays New York steak,
I can't wait to try it.
every night is special at Izzy's. On Tuesday, it's teriyaki chicken and coconut shrimp. On Mondays and Thursdays, roast chicken and barbecue rib tips. Plus our famous salad, dessert, and pizza bars every day and night of the week. Izzy's, a very special place for pizza and a whole lot more.
Hurricane Katrina displaced hundreds of thousands of school children. School districts throughout America are enrolling students from the Gulf Coast, helping them to maintain a sense of normal life. The U.S. Department of Education started Hurricane Help for Schools to help meet the needs of these school districts and students affected by Katrina. To find out how you can help, please visit www.ed.gov and click on to Hurricane Help for Schools.
The weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Anderson Cooper with the mayor in Galveston. We lost you there for a while. What happened?
Well, we're actually on the seawall, and the water is coming up rather quickly, and it got some of our equipment wet. Is this normal for the water to come up like this?
In a storm, absolutely. The waves are splashing.
Mayor, we asked you this before when we couldn't reach you. What's your worst fear?
Loss of life and, of course, the destruction of property, but loss of life is paramount for us here on the island.
How many people would you estimate are left in Galveston?
Well, Larry, we're figuring about 90% of the city has been vacated. There are probably anywhere from maybe 3,000, 4,000 of us remaining on the island.
Anderson, you've been living with this for 3 weeks now with New Orleans and all the rest. Do you get the Katrina feeling?
Well, in the sense of, no, in the sense of this city feels much different than the other places I have been. The mayor got buses here yesterday. The day before that, people who didn't have cars on their own had a way to get out. We were talking in the break, the mayor did something here which is very smart, which is allowing people to leave with their pets. One of the things I think that you probably learned from Katrina, people weren't leaving because they didn't want to leave behind their animals. You were encouraging people to take their animals with them.
Absolutely.
Smart idea. Bill Nye, the science guy. How much energy in a hurricane? What are we talking about? It's more than an A-bomb, right?
Oh, my goodness. It seems to me it would be tens of thousands of atomic bombs. Yeah. It's, if you have an inch of rain, for example, over a large city, let's say Houston, you have millions of tons of water falling down. Yeah. And so if you get into 6 inches or 30 inches, just the tonnage, the weight of the water alone has enough momentum, enough oomph to knock stuff over. And this is the big problem.
As a science guy, do they fascinate you?
Oh, yeah.
They're like
they do, yeah.
real
It's amazing.
things, right?
They're amazing. Just consider, why do they start spinning? What makes something like this start spinning? You've seen storm clouds. You've been in drizzling rain. But it's usually not in something that's going around in big, enormous circles.
Know why?
Oh, yeah, we know why. Oh, yeah. It's the Coriolis force, or Coriolis effect, named after a French mathematician, Coriolis. And when you have the combination of two accelerations, okay, so the Earth is spinning and gravity's pulling things down.
Love the way you explain things. Okay.
Well, so when you got
we're moving and it's going down.
And so you get these two accelerations, they call it, where things aren't just going at a constant speed, they're actually being sped up or slowed down. And this induces, when you have something big enough, like a cyclone storm, either a typhoon or a hurricane, they start to spin. And so the spin makes the winds just that much more powerful, and the tendency of things to flee the center, the centrifugal pattern, creates that hollow space. And then right there you get this difference in speeds, the shear, that really makes the thing just, destructive by human standards.
Rob Marciano, in the middle of it, do you get to be in awe of it?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the reasons I love going out into them. I mean, anybody that's in the weather business, anybody that's a meteorologist, has an incredible fascination with weather. There's a lot of people watching tonight that go to work at 9-to-5 jobs that have a fascination with weather, just looking up into the sky every day and watching the weather change. And we in the meteorology field have a passion for it, and being out in it is the only way to really taste it. I was in local news for 10 years, handcuffed to the studio when the big storms came in, and it's a whole nother experience, and it really gives you a different perspective as to what these storms can do when you actually see them firsthand.
Joining us now from Port Arthur, Texas, is Mayor Oscar Ortiz, the mayor of Port Arthur. It's a town of some 60,000 on the Texas-Louisiana border. Are you expecting the worst, Mr. Mayor?
I sure am, Larry. This thing is looking us right down our throats. You know, I called a mandatory evacuation here a couple of days ago for Sabine Pass. So that's the little community that sometime tomorrow between 10 in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon will be completely underwater. And then, of course, after that, in the city of Port Arthur will follow. And so I've had to move the command center now to Beaumont because we have a couple of military vessels over there, the Vincent, and they've allowed us to use that for a possible command center. So we're going to be kind of hard pressed here tomorrow.
Where do all the evacuees go?
Okay, we've sent them north out of the city of Beaumont up to Nacogdoches, Texas. As of today, we've shipped out over 75 bus loads. We've also had 2 C-130s come in from the government to take some of our people out that couldn't travel on buses. So we've evacuated most probably 95% of the city.
Where will you be?
Well, I can't leave. I guess I was the captain of the ship, Larry. I can't leave. I'm going to be in Beaumont on the 5th floor, and I'm having all our police vehicles put inside these the Vincent, which is a military cargo ship, as I said, so that hopefully when the storm subsides and we can get out, we can get some of our vehicles back on the road again. I'm having everything moved. We were originally going to go to Lumberton, Texas, but we found out that the high school there could only sustain 110-mile-an-hour winds, and we're figuring that Lumberton will be hit with about 135-mile-an-hour winds. I may also say this, Larry, that our levee, our sea levee that we have protecting our downtown can only handle up to 14, 16 feet. And as you heard one of your weathermen tell you that the surge is going to be well over 20 feet. So our downtown will be in underwater most probably sometime tomorrow night.
Are the mayors all working together?
Yes, sir. The mayor of the city of Port Arthur, Beaumont, Texas, Port Neches, Groves, Neyland, we've all been meeting constantly at meetings at 10 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and 10 o'clock at night. As a matter of fact, I have another meeting again tonight at 10:30.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll stay posted with you, and good luck. Mayor Oscar Ortiz, the mayor of Port Arthur, Texas. We'll be back with lots more of Larry King Live. Don't go away.
friend died of a heart attack with no warning, and I worried it could happen to Jim. His doctor said you should always have genuine bear at hand. Just one has enough aspirin to help save your life during a heart attack.
We both feel better when I have my bear.
For years, we've been taking you to places like this and showing you the heartbreak. The children whose only mistake was being born poor. 27,000 died last night. But thousands more lived because of sponsors who made a difference in their lives and sometimes actually saved them. We know you thought about it, put it on a nice to-do list, but somehow never got around to it. Even though the phone's right there and the call's free. Maybe it kind of gets lost in how busy you are. Maybe you're just taking your time. But Bretter and his friends don't have till the 12th of never. They need you today. And you're not busy right this moment, so why not now? It's not the 80 cents a day, is it? Sponsoring a child, clean water, healthy food, a doctor to see, finally a school to go to? It's the best thing that can happen to 3/4 and a nickel. And it's not like you feel bad after you do it. You'll feel great about sponsoring a kid every day you get up. And you don't have to worry about Christian Children's Fund. 80 cents of every dollar that comes in goes right out to help these children. So why not now? So why not now? Know what I think it is? I think you just forgot the number. So here it is. Christian Children's Fund is one of America's oldest and most trusted child sponsorship charities. For over 60 years, we're how people like you get together with children who need someone like you. So, why not now? Call now. We'll send you a picture of a child who needs you.
Sam Champion, that turn west, what does it say to you?
Well, it could be a wobble. There is a warmer pocket of water that was just to the north and west of where it spent the day today. There really isn't any reason for it to have steered in that direction, but they do wobble a little bit. And again, I don't necessarily agree with not paying attention to the categories. I think it's important, but I think we should just treat it as if it were the strongest storm and kind of leave it at that. A small fluctuation doesn't make that much of a difference. That's true. Just like a small wobble in the system shouldn't make that much of a difference. It is still a North Texas, Western Louisiana situation. If that wobble turns into a direct movement for much more, and Chad's looking at it, so if it's much more than an hour or two that it looks like it's steering that way, we'll get on top of that and make some adjustments to where we think the storm will go. But for right now, I would still paint it exactly the way it's been painted, and that is from that North Texas coast all the way to Louisiana. Consider this to be a very powerful hurricane. If you're in the coastal areas, you need not to be in those areas, particularly if they were evacuated. And for the folks in Houston, this storm system is not just a coastal concern. It moves inland, and there's going to be several inches of rain. It's going to move from Houston into that North Texas near Oklahoma and sit there for Sunday into Monday. Now, freshwater flooding and heavy rainfalls and tornadic storms are all a part of a landing hurricane. So, you know, if you can evacuate to a safe zone, I would do so. If you feel like that you can hunker down in Houston and they're telling you that you can do that, then you need to know how to prepare your home to survive that kind of storm, Larry.
Bill Nye wanted to add something.
Yeah, I got a question. Is that wobble, was that induced by that warm water eddy? And would that extra little push of warm water add energy to the storm?
That's exactly, you know, we had Larry, the gentleman from NASA last night. Is it Shepard?
Yep.
He's great with these warm. I learned so much just from talking to him on these, and we're still trying to understand them. But it seems like when they find these deep water pools, and we're still studying it, that these hurricanes do gain a little strength. Now, there's a question of whether or not there'll be a combatant shear to the storm that'll kind of weaken it as much as it gets the strength from the water. So much of that we're still learning about, Bill, but there is the expectation that it certainly can gather some strength, and it may have actually twisted to seek that.
Chad Myers wants to jump back in. Chad?
Larry, I'm glad when a plan comes together because the map behind me is going to show you that eddy. It's going to show you the loop current. This is out of the University of Colorado. The loop current, part of some very warm water. Here's Florida, here's Texas, there's Cancun. And the storm yesterday went right over this loop current. I want you to see, this storm went from 109 miles per hour to 175 miles per hour as it was going over this warm water. Today, it lost the warm water. It missed it. It's a little bit farther to the west, so our wind speeds went down. And that right there is exactly what Sam Champion is talking about. That is the next little warm eddy right there in the Gulf of Mexico. Then it loses that warmth before it hits land. But boy, right on top of that with this map here from the University of Colorado.
Anderson Cooper, does this add to your concerns?
It certainly does. You know, the mayor was actually just listening to this this announcement about the little bit of a jog to back to the left. I mean, do you think people should leave here if at this point?
No, if people haven't left the island by now, they need to make up their minds. They're going to have to stay here, mainly because of the traffic. They're not going to get anywhere, so they need to stay here. We very well may have to open a shelter of some kind. We don't like to do that because the island is not safe. But we'll be looking around tomorrow to see how many people are still here. Hopefully between now and tomorrow noon, people will continue to leave, but I don't know how far they get. They may get as far as Texas City, and that's it. Traffic is terrible.
It's one of the frustrating things, Larry. You know, I mean, these little jogs, you know, on a map suddenly make a huge difference here on the ground, and you have to kind of rethink the way you're thinking about everything. For the last couple hours, we were thinking, all right, well, maybe Galveston's going to, you know, kind of miss the worst of it if this thing jogs back a little bit. You know, we're just going to have to reassess things hour by hour.
Mayor, thank you for this time. We appreciate it. We'll probably be calling on you again tomorrow. And Anderson, I know you got to get ready for the top of the hour. Thanks to both of you for incredible reporting right on the scene, and we salute you, Madam Mayor. Ken Reeves, the senior meteorologist and director of forecasting for AccuWeather. What does this turn to the west tell you?
Well, actually, Larry, I'd like to put my little 2 cents in on this one as well.
It's your money.
It's my money. Here we go. The turn to the west, if you can kind of see the picture over my shoulder here, there's a little bit of yellow that showed up through the Mississippi Valley today, and that's actually a little dip in the jet stream that helped to pull the system a little to the north. What's happening, that's now lifting out of the way. These storms are steered by the currents in the upper atmosphere. The ocean content of heat, the energy out of the ocean helps control their intensity, certainly, and can affect their movements to a certain degree as well. Well, I think what's ending up happening, Larry, is the ridge is building back over top of this storm. And what that means is, let me just show you, you've got the ridge like this, and you're bringing the storm up into it like this. And now it's getting pushed by virtue of the flow around that high is now getting pushed to the west a little more because the ridge is now building back over top of the storm. That's why we're starting to see it jog to the west a little more. It may still jog west and north and west and north, but what that ridge building to the north, Larry, really worries me about is that it goes up in the northeastern Texas, and somebody by early next week has 30 inches of rain. And that could be the hidden story that people don't even realize. We're covering everything that's going on along the coast. And that's certainly a bad situation. But what about if somebody ends up with 3 feet of rain somewhere in northeast Texas, or worse yet, comes back down again from the north and heads back down toward Houston after hitting them once already. So I think there's a lot of interesting things going on there. And when Max comes back on, I'd like to ask him a question about evacuations as well. So
when we come back, I'll ask the science guy about storm surges. What caused them? What are they? Don't go away.
To make these evacuation plans and get people moving.
Wherever it makes landfall, it's going to do extensive damage.
So I don't think anyone in the Gulf Coast is out of harm's way.
The artistry, the music, the experience. That is Genesis. The Genesis Platinum Collection, 3 CDs covering the entire Genesis library. Also available is Genesis, the video show, now for the first time on DVD, a complete collection of their groundbreaking videos. These are the most complete collections you can own. This is the only CD set that features both the Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel eras. Get the Genesis Platinum Collection. Also available is Genesis, the video show. Call or click now. The Genesis Platinum Collection CDs. Over 4 hours of music sounding like you never heard before.
Oh, I need you. I'm not gonna make this. You know I want to, but I'm in too deep. We're gonna make it right tonight.
Genesis, the video show. 32 of their most memorable videos in 5.1 surround sound. These collections are as unique and dynamic as the band itself. Get the Genesis Platinum Collection CDs. Call the number on your screen or go to onlyhitmusic.com. Also available is Genesis, the video show. A complete video history. Now for the first time on DVD. Rush delivery available.
Bill Nye, the science guy, the National Advisory Board, the Union of Concerned Scientists. What is storm surge, and is it caused by the wind? Obviously, I guess it is.
Well, it's caused by rising air. So hot air rises because cold air squeezes it up. And what you end up with is this depression in the atmosphere. You know the expression tropical depression?
Sure.
So if you could see the atmosphere from outer space, which is what we do with satellites, there's a dip or a bowl in the atmosphere. And so that low pressure allows the pressure of the around that storm to squeeze the water up.
So it's not the wind as much as the pressure.
Right, that's the fundamental thing. But then, especially if you're on the northeast side of this thing, the wind doesn't help you. It's pushing that surge in at the same time, and you get these enormous sea level rises.
Rob Marciano, have you experienced the surge, and if so, what is it like?
I haven't. I've run from the surge, that's for sure, and that's what everybody should do. I mean, if there's a time where run for the hills, if that expression holds, it's during a hurricane. You just got to head for higher ground. I tell you, we were north of I-10 when the storm hit Biloxi, and they had that 25-foot plus storm surge, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. I worked down the road in Lake Charles for several years. Hurricane Audrey was their big one back in 1957. I would listen to the old-timers talk about how that storm came in, virtually unpredicted because they didn't have much in the way of radars and satellites. And they would talk about how the water just kept rising. Up to the attics they went, how the homes came off their foundations, how they floated out to sea or back to the beach, how they would hold on to dead carcasses of cattle in order to survive. Storm surge is no place I want to be. The funny thing is, Larry, is I never thought I would witness or hear those stories again. And sure enough, Hurricane Katrina came in, and we witnessed that sort of storm surge and that sort of loss of life again. And if there's any good news that comes out of that, is that the folks in Houston and Galveston, they're not messing around with this one. They don't want any part of it. They don't want to experience that storm surge. They all head out of town.
Sam, do satellites make it easier to forecast?
No, Larry, satellites do it all. Before we had satellites, we couldn't, or these days very much of it. Now, I mean, we're doing a lot more with Doppler and shooting into a storm and getting winds and rain that way. But without that satellite, you don't get that picture. We were never able, before satellites, we were never able to see the storms and know where they were. There was a lot of guessing there. With the satellite picture, you can see it move, you can see where it's going, you can pinpoint it, you can track it, and you can forecast it.
Why do they start, Bill, west of Africa?
That's where the ocean's warm enough to drive it. In other words, the answer to that question is almost just so. I mean, there's enough energy in the atmosphere that you're going to have these instabilities, you're going to have whirlpools, little swirls, and where it happens is near the equator, and the interaction of the spin of the Earth and the winds, I don't want to go too far afield here, the Hadley cells, these other like the trade winds kind of things, allows it to start there in the mid-Atlantic.
Has anyone ever seen one start?
That's what these guys do all day. I mean, with all due. I mean,
they look at them begin.
Oh yeah, way out in the mid-Atlantic. They look for the beginning of the storms, and the kernel, and they try to decide how big it's going to get, and they keep an eye on it. And it's a very, very complex problem. You have the water from the Gulf Stream that has a certain temperature. You have cloud cover, which affects how much insolation, how much sunlight hits the surface of the sea, and then the rate that the clouds form affects how much extra energy they get, and then
has a life of its own.
It has. It's seemingly, yes.
The planes that fly into them, why don't they turn over?
Well, you know, when you land in a plane, you're going 150 knots. That's about the speed of a very strong hurricane. So planes can fly in hurricanes. It's sort of a surprising thing.
You're not going to turn over.
Well, not if you're careful. I wouldn't try
they do it every day, right?
I wouldn't try it in a very small Cessna, but you can do it in a pretty good-sized plane of a certain weight. And you can't fly in a tornado, for example. Those winds will go twice that fast. Yeah. But a hurricane or cyclonic storm, and you talk about people that really like what they do.
Those people.
Yeah.
We'll take a break and we'll be back learning a lot tonight on top of Hurricane Rita. What a couple of weeks, or a fortnight, as they say. Don't go away.
Diamonds, the jewelry exchange has thousands at guaranteed low prices. 1 carat solitaires are $5.99, 1 carat studs $3.99. Buy factory direct, the jewelry exchange, with superstores nationwide, or go online at jewelryexchange.com.
I'm Joe Corsani of Premier Auto Group. I'm pleased to announce that right now we're offering the most competitive incentive in our history.
The Ford family plan has been extended at Premier Lincoln Mercury. Get employee pricing on every 05 in stock. Hurry, this offer can't last.
I'll pay off your trade no matter how much you owe. Would you like some ice?
Premier Lincoln Mercury on Southwest Canyon Road in Beaverton.
Portland's top talent takes center stage on Dix McKenzie Ford Gimme the Mic, presented by Comcast. One singing superstar will drive off in a 2005 Ford Escape from Dix McKenzie Ford. This week, Jenna, Sharon, Jody, and Brandy compete in the semifinals along with Ross, Travis, Chris, and Tarshin. Saturday 9 at 10 on News Channel 8. Or watch it on your schedule with Comcast On Demand.
Most homes are leaking energy through drafty windows, poorly insulated walls, inefficient furnaces, and appliances. At PGE, we can help. We'll explain how to save energy by making your home more efficient, and even connect you with sources for incentives and tax credits on the improvements you make. So call. We'll help you turn things around.
Portland General Electric. We do this every day.
How big is big? This is big. It's Sleep Country's big mattress sale. It's the biggest sale of the year. Save on more Simmons, Sealy, Spring Air, and Pacifics. Save on more king, queen, full, or twins. Save on more firm, extra firm plush or pillow tops. Get interest-free financing, make no down payment, and make no monthly payments till spring 2006. It's the big mattress sale on now.
Why buy a mattress anywhere else?
Weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
We're back. Let's take a call. Minneapolis, hello.
Question for Bill Nye.
Yeah.
How can we lower the water temperature in the Gulf over the long term?
Boy,
which would end hurricanes, right?
Well, would end them. It might curtail them. Well, this gets into something we call global climate change, which is certainly happening. As the world gets warmer, there's going to be more heat energy in the atmosphere, and that heat energy is going to manifest itself in bigger and more frequent storms.
So it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
So
now,
what can we do to change it?
What we can do to change it is everything. That is to say, if we could use less fossil fuel, if we could use the fossil fuel we do use more efficiently, if we could develop alternative forms of energy, we could, as we like to say, have it all. We could reduce global climate change, reduce the effect of hurricanes, and improve everybody's quality of life. But it's a big job. And another thing we could do, just for example, in these areas is preserve or restore wetlands, which we've destroyed.
Sam Champion, people died in the past because they had bad information, right?
Yes, sir, or didn't have any information at all.
Because I remember once that the Key West story, they thought the eye was the end of it.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the whole thing about satellites. Before we were able to see the storm, you only knew a storm was coming when the skies got gray and the wind picked up and the rain started. And when it stopped, you felt like the storm was over. A lot of people got caught in eyes of storms. Also, in the big Galveston storm, there's a lot of discussion, in the original one, 1900? Did they know the storm was coming? Did they not know it was coming? A lot of people disagreed with it. There was one forecaster who believed it was happening. But again, with that satellite picture, you see the storm. There's no doubt there's a storm in the Gulf. Why? We got a satellite.
Mark Twain said everyone talks about the weather, no one does anything about it.
Well, they're driving out of town.
That's what they're doing now. Rob, how long do you hang in Baytown?
We'll stay here tonight. I think the orders are to head east. We're going to try to get to as close to the center of this thing as possible in a safe spot away from that storm surge and in a very, very sturdy building, likely right along the I-10 corridor, likely in the Beaumont, likely not as far south as Port Arthur, Beaumont, Orange, Texas area. So just down the road, probably about 30 miles.
Don't you get a little logged, for want of a better term, over covering this night after night, day after day? Did you need a little relief?
I'd take a couple of days off at this point, to be honest with you. We all would. But the reporters covering the aftermath of Katrina would. It's just the news business has its ebb and flow, and certainly the weather business does also. But this year, I'm not going to kid you, has been absolutely crazy, and it doesn't look like it's letting up. So we just hope to see more calm weather, I should say, come November and December, no monster snowstorms coming around.
Oh, hopefully. Chad Myers wants to show something based on what Bill Nye just said.
Well, he was talking about the computer models and, the storm is moving that way, but does it continue to move that way? Well, the computer models are telling us a couple of different things, Larry. 14 different colored lines on here, 14 different programmers, 14 different programs, all have a different opinion to where this thing is going. Most of them, though, east of Houston, west of New Orleans, somewhere right there around the Sabine Pass, Beaumont, Port Arthur. So we look at these models, what they're worth. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they don't worth a darn.
Could you look at one, and Sam look at one, and Ken look at one, and Bill look at one, and could you all disagree?
Absolutely.
But let me say, they are all pretty tightly packed together there. And, in the 1800s, people were astonished at the accuracy of weather forecasts when telegraphs were first invented and people could see weather coming from the west to the east. And now we're all complaining when it's off 10, 15 nautical miles. And, of course, it'll get better as everybody scientists work harder on this. But looking at that thing, the landfall looks about the same in every model, doesn't it?
Absolutely, sure does. Anywhere really. Now, you got your easternmost models, Bill, Lafayette, and then your westernmost model, Houston. One of the problems that even the guy from AccuWeather was talking about, how this thing stops. It stops up here in Arkansas, and it could rain for days. And if one of those feeder bands comes into New Orleans and stays there, it could rain in New Orleans for days, and that would cause more flooding that we didn't even anticipate.
Now, a feeder band, that's one of those stripes you see from space, right?
Correct. Kind of like the tooth of the buzzsaw, if you will.
I feel like I'm in Chemistry 101. We'll take a break and be back with more. Don't go away.
Attention! Do you use oxygen? Are you on Medicare? Enjoy the convenience of the latest technology for no additional cost. Call Home Oxygen to you at 1-800-725-5503 for a no-obligation demonstration in the privacy of your home. Tired of waiting for deliveries? Wait no more. Lugging around heavy tanks? You don't have to. Is your home cluttered with empty tanks? Not with Home Oxygen to you. Is fussing with regulators a hassle? Ours is grab and go. Traveling across the street or across the country? Home Oxygen to you is a breath of fresh air. Call Home Oxygen to you now and get a free in-home demonstration of your personal oxygen system. We'll do the Medicare paperwork for you. Freedom is a phone call away. Call 1-800-725-5503 now.
Great news. Daily consumption of certain plant extracts called phytonutrients can significantly reduce your cholesterol.
But to receive these heart-healthy benefits, you'd have to consume an extra 17 ears of corn or 3 heads of lettuce every day. Luckily, now there's a simple solution from Nature Made. Nature Made Cholestoff. Cholestoff reduces cholesterol up to 24% on average in just 30 days.
After taking Cholestoff, my numbers went from 282 down to 210 in 6 months.
I could not really believe that Cholestoff worked so well. Very pleased with it.
I'm very happy, and my doctor's happy and somewhat surprised.
Get the facts. Call now for this free brochure and special coupons worth up to $5 off Cholestoff and other Nature Made health solutions. The answer to lowering your cholesterol is in Cholestoff.
Cholestoff is available without a prescription in the vitamin aisle. Call 1-800-735-0134 or visit us online.
Joining us in Baton Rouge is Kelly O'Donnell, the partner of Rosie O'Donnell. She and Rosie are donating $3 million to help aid children displaced by Hurricane Katrina. The donation and grant information for Project Katrina can be found at www.forallkids.org. How did this come about, Kelly?
Well, I'm from Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is my hometown, so it's something that's very close to my heart. And as Rosie and I were watching everything unfold on television, we really wanted to do something that would be meaningful, we could be hands-on and really participate. So I obviously came to my hometown, which, as you know, whose population basically doubled within 4 days. And we wanted to look into ways that we could really help the evacuees sort of get their life started again. So we've been working here. We dedicated $1 million to emergency relief. We've taken $2 million, and we're going to work in interim and long-term building of daycare centers and after-school programs for some of the older kids.
That's great. And we're going to check back with you later, either later this week or early next week, about the Day of Fun, October 1st, for evacuee kids in Baton Rouge. We salute you and give our best to Rosie.
Actually, I will. And actually, the date changed to October 15th due to the new hurricane coming in.
We'll check back with you for more. Joining us on the phone is Mayor Laura Miller, the mayor of Dallas. What are you doing in Big D, Laura?
We are holding our breath, Larry, and waiting for 1 million people to show up on our doorstep, many of whom are in their cars at this moment sitting on clogged highways.
You took in a lot from Katrina, didn't you?
We took in 25,000 people. We filled our sports arenas and our convention center, and we started a program to raise $3 million privately to get them out into apartments and stabilized. We had just emptied those facilities when this hit, so we reluctantly went ahead and opened them back up today.
Is Dallas in any danger?
No, I mean, we're going to get rain and we're going to get wind, and we hear we might get some tornadoes, so we're all bracing for that. But, of course, the big thing we're bracing for are all these people that are coming here to seek refuge in a city that has absorbed an awful lot of people so far.
And are you saying, Mayor, come on in?
We are, because people are on the highways and they're frustrated and they're burning gas, and gas is scarce and expensive, as we know. So we have opened up our doors, and we're a very loving city, and the American Red Cross has been a saint in our town. So we're just going to have to deal with whatever we get, and we will do that, and you guys will see that we will absorb.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for that information. Bill, we hope we can call on you again.
Yes, sir.
It's been a delight having you, and you've added a lot of information to our program. We really appreciate it. Sam Champion, thanks for yeoman-like work. Ken Reeves on the spot in State College, Pennsylvania. And Rob Marciano, stay healthy wherever you are. And get a rest. We'll stay atop, of course, this story on CNN 24 hours a day. We have enormous resources and lots of terrific people covering it. I think they deserve the thanks of all of us, yours truly included, for the yeoman-like work they do.
CNN, your hurricane headquarters.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Calloway, and we are live from CNN B Control here in Atlanta. And there is a drama unfolding on the interstates out of Houston tonight. You're looking at a live picture now of Interstate 45. We are hearing reports the cars are traveling no faster than 5 miles per hour, going like 20 miles in 9 hours. Vehicles running out of gas on the side of the road, just waiting for help. People without food and water, they're having trouble getting some, as most of the stores along the way are closed now. Rest areas are inundated with people now camping out there. 2 tanker trucks have been dispatched to assist the stranded motorists. Let's go right to Bonnie Schneider and find out when the wind and the rain is going to be heading their way as Hurricane Rita gets ever closer to shore. Bonnie?
Catherine, I think Houston will be okay for these early morning hours, but by later this afternoon and tonight, we may see some of those bands come in and trigger some showers and thunderstorms. By much later tonight, we're talking about some stronger winds, and eventually we'll be seeing some very, very gusty, very heavy downpours rather as the storm approaches. So really the weather will get from bad to worse. Don't forget that Houston is under an inland hurricane warning, so it's still part of that hurricane warning. Right now we have maximum winds with Rita at 140 miles per hour.